Welcome to Acquired AI, where we decode the world's most iconic business success stories, powered by AI, crafted with precision, and delivered with captivating storytelling. In every episode, we'll take you behind the curtain of legendary companies, uncovering the strategies, turning points, and decisions that shaped their success. No fluff, no repetition, just sharp insights, compelling narratives, and a journey through the moments that made history. So sit back, tune in, and let's dive into another extraordinary story, right here on Acquired AI. Let's get started.
All right, let's dive into this whole Visa thing.
Okay.
The company behind that little piece of plastic we all use
to
buy, well, everything.
Pretty much, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere.
All over the world.
And today we're going to, I guess, figure out how Visa went from this crazy idea in the 50s to Fresno, California, to the 11th
biggest company.
Biggest company in the world.
In the world. Wild, right?
It is pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah.
So to do that, we've got excerpts from the Acquired AI episode on Visa.
Okay.
Historical accounts, strategic analyses. And I guess our goal today is to figure out how Visa, without actually being a bank, a lender, or even a merchant, built this financial empire worth, what, over $500 billion?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yes.
Nuts. So
story starts, like you said, in the 1950s.
Okay. 1958, specifically Bank of America. Back then, it was actually Bank of Italy.
Oh, okay.
They did something really, really crazy.
Okay.
They mailed out 65,000 unsolicited credit cards.
Wow.
To people in Fresno.
So just you open your mailbox and there's
you got a credit card.
A credit card.
You didn't ask for.
That's pretty wild.
Wild, right. Talk about a risky move.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that today.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
So this was a totally revolutionary concept at the time.
Okay.
Charge cards already existed, things like Diners Club, American Express.
Right.
But what Bank of America did that was new was add this credit element to it.
Okay.
You could actually...
So before it was just
pay it
a
off.
charge card.
Yeah, you had to pay it off every month.
Right, okay.
But Bank of America said, no, you can carry a balance.
Wow.
Pay it over time.
Okay.
They called it the Bank Americard. And that really is the origin of what we know as the modern credit card today.
So that little piece of plastic.
That little piece of plastic, yeah.
Started in Fresno in 1958.
Bank of America, Fresno, California.
Wild.
Pretty wild.
Yeah?
So you can imagine that initial rollout.
I can only imagine.
It was a little rough around the edges.
Okay.
Logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
Fraud was rampant.
Of course, yeah.
They actually lost $20 million.
Wow.
In that initial pilot program.
$20 million.
Yeah.
It's a miracle they didn't just scrap the whole thing.
Right. It's hard to believe they didn't.
Yeah.
But, Bank of America.
They had money.
They were the largest consumer bank in the U.S. at the time. Deep pockets.
They could kind of afford to just throw money at the problem.
Exactly. And plus, there was a deeper strategy at play here.
All right.
They saw this as an opportunity to streamline their lending operations.
Okay.
So up until that point, they were offering all sorts of individual loans, like appliances, cars, you name it.
Right. Okay.
Credit card was a way to consolidate all that.
Into one
product.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was less about the card itself, more about using it as a tool to expand their lending business.
All right. So a long game.
A long game, exactly.
Wow.
And despite those initial hiccups, by 1961, they actually they got the fraud under control.
Right.
The program became profitable.
Okay. So 3 years later?
3 years later.
They figured it out.
They figured it out.
Wow.
Yeah, they were off to the races.
And then what?
Well, they weren't content with just California, right?
Okay.
They had ambitions for national expansion.
Yeah.
And they thought, okay, what's the logical way to do this?
Franchising.
Franchising. Just like
McDonald's,
Burger King.
Okay.
License the brand, license the system.
Okay.
Seemed like a straightforward way to scale quickly.
All right. So I'm guessing there's a reason Visa's not called Bank Americard today.
Yeah, there is.
So something went wrong.
Something went very, very wrong.
What happened?
It was a mess, is what happened.
Oh.
Imagine a world without the internet.
Right.
Where banks in different states are trying to reconcile transactions.
Oh, wow.
Using paper records, phone calls.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It was a nightmare.
Okay.
Costs spiraled out of control for these franchise banks.
Right.
And they had no real control over the Bank Americard brand or its marketing.
So they were...
By 1968,
kind of stuck.
The franchisees were fed up.
Okay.
They demanded a summit with Bank of America to air their grievances and try to find a solution.
Sounds like it was about to get
heated. It was a showdown.
Okay, so...
They had a big meeting in Columbus, Ohio.
All right.
All these frustrated franchisee banks sent their top people ready to fight for their businesses.
Right.
Bank of America, on the other hand, sent 2 mid-level marketing guys.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They sent 2 marketing guys.
Underestimated how upset all these franchisees were.
To deal with all these angry bankers.
Exactly. Yeah. Thrown to the wolves, basically.
Yeah. What did they do?
So after 2 days of being, just yelled at by these bankers.
Oh, my.
They
tried to stall.
They tried to stall.
How'd they do that?
They said, let's form a committee of licensees to investigate these problems.
Okay.
And they'll report back to Bank of America in San Francisco.
Kick the can down the road.
Classic kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite work out the way they planned.
Okay.
Because one of the people appointed to this committee was this guy named D. Hawk.
D. Hawk.
Yeah, you know him.
The Visa founder.
Yeah, exactly. He was running the Bank Americard program for this small bank in Seattle.
Okay.
He had some very different ideas about how to fix this whole mess.
Okay, so this seemingly insignificant committee is now...
became the birthplace of Visa.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what did D do?
So D, during a lunch break, he went up to those 2 beleaguered marketing managers from Bank of America.
Right.
And he said, I've got a proposition for you.
Okay.
Instead of just gathering complaints, he said, let's completely redesign this whole system.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's a big...
Pretty bold, right?
Yeah.
Forget fixing it.
Yeah.
Let's just reinvent the whole thing.
Wow. And the marketing guys were probably just like...
They were desperate.
Get us out of here.
They were like, please, anything, just get us out of this room.
Right.
So they agreed.
Wow.
Probably thinking nothing would come of it.
Right.
But D saw this as his chance to create something truly revolutionary.
Okay.
He was a very interesting guy.
Okay.
A visionary leader. He was a debater in college. He knew how to persuade people, build consensus. And he had this idea for this new global payments network.
Wow.
He was like a true believer in the power of technology to transform how people transacted. Even though, remember...
This is before the internet.
This is like the 1960s, no internet.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So he walks out of this meeting with this, monumental task ahead of him.
Yeah.
He's basically asking
to convince
hundreds of
banks,
fiercely competitive banks,
to give up control of their individual card programs, and buy into this new system
that he's thought up
that they know nothing about. Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
How did he do that?
How did he pull that off?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great question. So D knew, to get all these banks on board, he had to design a system that was fair and worked for everyone, where no one, not even Bank of America, had, all the control. So how did he do it?
Yeah, what was his big idea?
He called it communist capitalism.
Communist capitalism.
Yeah, okay. Kind of strange, right?
Yeah.
Basically, the idea was that the banks would own the network proportionally to their transaction volume.
Okay, so...
Right, so the more transactions a bank processed...
the bigger their stake.
The bigger their ownership stake,
Interesting.
So that way, everyone was incentivized to, contribute.
To participate.
Yeah, participate.
Okay.
And no one could, dominate the system.
They're kind of genius, actually.
Pretty clever, right?
Yeah.
But, of course, convincing all these banks
to
go along with this plan was no easy task.
Yeah. Definitely not.
DeZ was a master of persuasion, though.
Ugh.
He went on this cross-country tour.
Wow.
Meeting with executives, making his case.
Okay.
And get this, he even got a letter.
Wow.
From the Department of Justice, granting an antitrust exemption for this new venture.
Really?
Yeah.
So even back then, the government
saw the potential.
Recognized that this nationwide network could actually
They saw the benefits.
be a good thing.
For consumers.
Right, more competition.
Competition, yeah.
More options for people.
More options, exactly.
Wow, okay.
And incredibly, D managed to pull it off.
Wow.
He got every single member bank
Really?
of the Bank Americard franchise system
To sign up.
for his new organization.
That's remarkable.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So they had the structure, right?
Yeah.
They had the banks on board, but they still didn't have, like, a name.
A name.
Right, so how did they land on Visa?
So the name Visa, right? It's just
Yeah.
brilliant,
Yeah.
short, memorable, you know.
Works in any language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But believe it or not,
Yeah.
that wasn't the first choice.
Right on.
At first they called it National Bank Americard, Inc.
Or NBI, for short.
National Bank Americard?
Yeah.
Doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
No, not quite as catchy.
Not global.
Not global at all.
Yeah.
So D,
Yeah.
he realized they needed something better.
Okay.
If they wanted to be
Right.
truly global.
Yeah, a worldwide network.
Yeah, so he had this idea
Okay.
to hold a contest
Contest, all right.
within the company,
Okay.
offered a $50 prize.
$50.
$50.
For the name Visa.
What a winning entry. Yep.
Wow, that's a steal.
Pretty good deal, right? So the story goes that so many people submitted the name Visa
Really?
that D ended up writing a $50 check to every employee.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty cool, huh?
That's a great way to, get everyone excited about the new brand.
Get everyone on board, yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So that's how Visa was born.
Okay, 1976.
1976, yep.
But, we got to remember,
Yeah.
this is all happening before the internet.
Pre-internet era, yeah.
How did they actually build the technology
Right.
to make this global payments network?
That is the question.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where things get really interesting.
Right.
Because to make this vision of a seamless global payment system a reality, they had to overcome some serious technical hurdles.
I bet.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Computers back then, giant.
Room size.
Yeah, room size, no internet.
Right.
It was a different world.
So moving money around the world.
Yeah.
Couldn't just send data over the internet.
No, none of that.
Right.
They had to build a lot of this infrastructure themselves from scratch.
Okay, so where did they start?
So they tackled authorization first.
Authorization, okay.
So back then, if you wanted to use a credit card
Yeah.
for anything above like a certain amount,
Right.
the merchant would have to call their bank.
Okay.
The bank would call the customer's bank to verify the funds.
Right. And it was
painfully slow,
Yeah.
cumbersome,
Yeah.
just a mess.
Okay.
So Visa created this electronic authorization system called BASE-I,
Eastside, okay.
which basically allowed banks to communicate directly over a nationwide telecom network.
Right.
So no more phone calls.
So they built their own version of the internet.
Yeah, basically.
For payments.
But for payments, exactly.
That's wild.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And that obviously
It made things much faster.
much faster, much more secure.
Right.
But authorization was just one part of the puzzle.
Right, because then you have to actually
You got to settle the transaction.
move the money,
Move the money, yeah.
from the customer's bank to the merchant.
Exactly.
Which is still very complex at this point. Still a lot of paper records, manual reconciliation.
Okay.
So Visa launched this project called BASE-II.
BASE-II, okay.
To create an electronic clearinghouse.
To automate all of this.
Okay, so they're trying to digitize the whole
process.
Back end.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is where things get really wild as Visa's building this electronic clearinghouse in California.
Okay.
The Federal Reserve is doing the same thing.
Really?
On the East Coast.
Wow.
Both developing systems.
So separately.
Completely independent.
They didn't even know.
Nope.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, these two massive undertakings happening at the same time, but completely in isolation.
You'd think they would have talked to each other.
You would think so, right.
Yeah.
But I think it just shows you how important this was.
Right.
Like, everyone recognized that they had to get rid of this antiquated, paper-based system, embrace computers to make things faster, more efficient.
So that's the back end, but then you've got to...
Right, then you got to digitize.
Digitize the front end,
The point of sale itself.
Right, so we're talking cards and terminals.
Cards and terminals, exactly.
Okay.
So for the cards, Visa adopted this magnetic stripe technology.
Right, which was already...
Which had been around for a while.
Right.
ID badges, things like that.
Right.
And they created basically the first truly digital payment card.
Okay.
But of course, they had to figure out how to...
Mass produce
these cards.
Talking to people.
Get them into the hands of millions of consumers.
Right.
And on the merchant side, right?
Yeah.
You need a way to...
I'll read them.
Read the cards.
Yeah, so...
Enter Verifone.
Verifone.
Yeah, they were this pioneering tech company.
Okay.
They developed the first affordable point-of-sale terminals that could read those magnetic stripe cards.
Right, so Verifone was essential.
Oh, absolutely.
For making this whole thing work.
They were the unsung heroes of the digital payments revolution. Yeah, but of course this is still...
No internet.
Pre-internet.
So how do you connect all these terminals to the Visa network?
So initially they partnered with telecom companies to create dedicated lines for those terminals.
Okay.
But then they had this brilliant idea. They realized that this fledgling online service called CompuServe.
CompuServe, wow.
Yeah, you remember them.
Vaguely.
They were building a network of dial-up connections across the country, and Visa was like, wait a minute.
Okay.
We can use their infrastructure.
Okay.
So they struck this deal with CompuServe to route their terminal transactions through their dial-up network.
That's pretty smart.
Pretty clever, right?
Yeah.
Saved them a ton of money.
Right.
Really accelerated the adoption of digital payment terminals.
So just constantly adapting.
Yeah.
Finding these new ways to use technology.
Always innovating, thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
By the early 80s, they had basically built a fully digital payments infrastructure.
Okay.
Connecting banks, merchants, consumers.
Worldwide.
Yeah, across the globe.
So they were ready.
You're poised.
To take over the world.
Yeah, but they needed something.
Okay.
Like a catalyst.
A spark.
Yeah, a spark.
Okay.
To really launch them into the spotlight.
What was it?
1988 Summer Olympics.
The Olympics?
Yep. Seoul, South Korea.
Okay, so how did a sporting event lead to Visa's domination?
So this was a masterstroke of marketing and brand positioning.
Okay.
You see, up until that point, American Express was the king of travel and entertainment.
Yeah, if you went abroad?
Yeah. American Express.
That's what you used.
The card for the jet-setting elite.
So the Olympics would have been perfect.
Right.
You'd think. Solidify that image.
Solidify that image. Yeah. So what happened?
The International Olympic Committee
actually went to American Express first.
Oh, wow.
Offered them a deal to be a major sponsor for the 88 games.
Okay.
Even gave them a discount.
Really?
But American Express.
Wow.
They said no.
Why would they do that?
I know, right?
Pass up the Olympics.
Huge mistake.
Yeah.
No one really knows for sure why.
Okay.
Maybe they underestimated the impact. Or maybe they were just too focused on their existing high-end customers.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason, their loss was Visa's gain.
So I'm guessing Visa jumped at the chance?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
They saw this as their opportunity to position themselves.
As the global leader.
As the global card. Yeah.
Wow.
So they shelled out $17 million for the sponsorship rights.
All right.
Another $23 million on advertising.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Big investment.
So $40 million.
$40 million.
Total.
Yeah.
And they became the exclusive payment card.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you wanted to buy anything at the Olympics,
you had to use
a Visa.
Wow. What a statement.
Pretty powerful, right?
Yeah.
Showcase your brand to a global audience.
And did it work?
It worked brilliantly.
Okay.
The 88 Olympics.
Yeah.
Huge success for Visa.
Okay.
Surge in card usage.
Okay.
Brand awareness.
Wow.
Worldwide.
They went for the gold.
They went for the gold and they got it. It was a turning point
in
in Visa's history.
Right.
Really helped them
Cement their place.
Cement their place, yeah.
At the top.
At the top of the payments world.
Okay, so we've seen this evolution, right? Yeah. From this kind of chaotic credit card program to this globally recognized brand with this, sophisticated digital payments network.
It's pretty incredible.
But how do they actually make money?
Right. That's the question.
What is Visa's business model?
So Visa's business model is often described as a toll booth. A toll booth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they sit at the center of this massive network.
Right. Banks, merchants, consumers.
Banks, merchants, consumers, exactly.
Yeah.
And they take a small cut of every transaction.
So they're not a bank.
Nope.
Don't issue loans.
Yep.
Don't sell anything directly to consumers.
They just
got the middleman.
They're the facilitator.
Okay.
They make commerce happen.
Right.
And they take a fee for their services.
Okay, so where does that fee come from?
So the bulk of their revenue comes from what are called interchange fees.
Interchange fees.
Yeah.
What are those?
So those are the fees that merchants pay to accept Visa cards.
Right, okay.
Every time you swipe your Visa at a store, a tiny percentage of that transaction
goes to Visa.
Goes to Visa, yep.
Okay, how much are we talking?
It varies.
Okay.
Depends on the type of transaction the merchant.
Okay.
But usually,
somewhere between like 1.5% to 3%.
Doesn't sound like much.
Right.
But when you think about how much money flows through their network.
Trillions.
It must be.
It adds up.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah, so how much are we talking?
So last year, Visa processed $14 trillion.
$14 trillion.
In transactions.
Wow.
And their revenue was over $30 billion.
$30 billion?
$30 billion.
Yeah. With a B.
With a B, yeah.
Wow, and their profit margins.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
They operate with incredibly high profit margins.
How high?
Over 50%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very scalable business.
Quartz transactions.
More transactions.
More revenue,
without really increasing their costs that much.
Exactly.
So they've built this money-making machine.
It's a pretty remarkable business.
It is.
But what about the future?
Right, because
things are changing.
The world of payments is constantly evolving.
Exactly.
So what are the challenges
what challenges
the Visa faces
lie ahead
in this world
of digital wallets? Mobile payments.
That's the big question. It is a pretty remarkable business.
It is.
But things are changing.
Yeah. I mean, the world of payments is constantly evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of those challenges?
Yeah, what are the things that Visa is facing?
Keeps them up at night.
Yeah, in this new world,
Digital wallets, mobile payments.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, first of all, you got these mobile payment platforms, right?
Right, yeah.
Apple Pay.
Right.
Google Pay. They're becoming super popular, especially with
the younger generation.
Younger folks, yeah. I mean, it's just so easy.
Tap your phone.
Tap your phone. Done.
Yeah, and then you've got
like the real-time payment networks.
Yeah, like FedNow that are being developed.
Right.
That could potentially offer faster and cheaper transactions.
So that's a direct threat.
Yeah, that's a direct threat.
To Visa's network.
To their core competency.
Right.
The speed and efficiency.
And then you've got the big.
And then you've got,
tech companies.
The Amazons.
Right.
The Apples of the world.
Right. Like, what if Amazon just decided to say,
exactly,
you can only pay with Amazon Pay?
Yeah. Create their own closed loop systems.
Yeah. Okay. So big challenges ahead for Visa.
Big challenges.
Yeah. So how are they responding to this?
Yeah.
Are they just sitting back,
living up,
watching the world burn around them?
No, not at all.
Okay. So what are they doing?
So they're fighting back on a number of fronts. First of all, they've got
a head start.
They've got a huge head start.
Yeah. I mean, they've built relationships with over 16,000 financial institutions.
Okay.
In 200 countries.
That's
a massive network.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to replicate that.
Yeah, exactly. And they've got a strong brand reputation for security.
Right. Trust.
Trust is everything.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to handling people's money.
Right.
And they're not just sitting still.
Right.
They're actively investing in new technologies, services.
So they're trying to stay ahead.
Yeah, stay ahead of the curve.
Okay. Give me some examples.
Sure. So they're focused on things like tokenization.
Tokenization? What's that?
Yeah. So that's basically a way to enhance security
for
online and mobile payments.
Right.
They're also looking at
Okay.
Blockchain technology.
Okay.
Other, cutting edge innovations.
Right. So they're not afraid to.
No, they're embrace these new technologies.
Yeah, they're trying to future-proof the business.
They are. And then in addition to that.
And they're also, yeah.
Are they doing anything else to try to
Yeah, they're investing.
Defend their territory?
Yeah, they're investing in what are called value-added services.
Value-added services.
For merchants, for banks.
Okay.
Things like fraud prevention.
Okay.
Data analytics, loyalty programs.
We're trying to be.
They want to be more than just.
Yeah, more than a payment processor.
A payment processor. Yeah. They want to be like one-stop shop for businesses. In this digital age.
So they're attacking this from all sides.
Yeah. They're taking a multi-pronged approach.
But is it going to be enough?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the payments industry is incredibly dynamic.
Yeah, it's constantly changing.
Constantly changing. There's a lot of uncertainty.
So I guess, Visa's on top right now.
They're the king of the hill.
But no guarantee they'll stay there.
No, not at all.
Yeah, well, this has been a fascinating...
It's a crazy story.
It is. Journey from,
From Fresno
to...
world domination.
Yeah, world domination.
That's incredible.
And I think, there are a lot of questions.
Big questions.
Yeah, about the future.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen to Visa?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to the payments industry? I think it's definitely something. The next time you use your Visa, whether it's...
physical card.
Yeah, physical or on your phone.
Or on your phone.
Just remember.
Remember this story.
Yeah, there's this whole history.
A lot going on.
Yeah, it's more than just a...
Yeah, more than just a simple piece of plastic.
Right, yeah.
Or a digital wallet.
Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely.
On this exploration of Visa's journey.
It's been a fun one.
It has, and until next time.
Until next time.
Keep exploring. Keep questioning.
Keep learning.
And keep learning.
That wraps up this episode of Acquired AI, where AI meets business storytelling to uncover the secrets behind iconic success stories. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter on LinkedIn for exclusive episode briefings, timelines, quizzes, and more insights delivered straight to your inbox. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. It helps us reach more curious minds like yours. And of course, join us again next week as we dive into another legendary business story. This episode was proudly brought to you by El-Ashi Holding, where vision meets excellence. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and we'll see you on the next episode of Acquired AI.